All right, we're back. Segment 2, Gold and Black Live. Chris Pelliot joins us, Assistant Athletic Director, Marketing and Ticketing.
Correct.
I got that. That's good. And welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
And always an interesting thing when we talk about, and always a lively discussion on our message boards. But ticketing, you've been back, and will be to start your second season in West Lafayette, or second full year?
Yeah, second full year. It'll be my third football season, if you count. I came here a couple days before the first game in 2011. So.
And talk about your background. You kind of come back. You came to Purdue from the Air Force Academy. Different world, different. There are some similarities, I think, at Purdue, but also just the world of ticketing and trying to market a product. Every place is different.
Yeah, I mean, I spent 11 and a half years at the Air Force Academy and kind of made it from assistant ticket manager to a similar role to what I have here at Purdue. So in that course of time, you learn different challenges. Every place has its own challenges. Purdue's not unique to that, but hopefully, you know, with some renewed enthusiasm and some better results on the field, things will tend to turn around a bit, and we're trying to do some things to get people a little more excited, specifically students as well.
Well, certainly the Darrell Hazell coming into the picture, and if he's nothing if he's not positive. I mean, he's obviously, if even from our perspective, you can feel the difference. He seems to be a good guy to start with in terms of being able to market your product.
Yeah, he's been great. I mean, we've met with him a few times, and he's open to do really anything we've asked him at this point. And I don't think from a public standpoint we could have asked for a better representative. And so we're going to try to work with that. And we've had a good week since we put tickets on sale last week. So we've sold nearly just over 3,000 new season tickets since last Thursday. So that's a good start, and hopefully that will continue, you know, over the next few months.
And that's what will take in terms of to accomplish what Darrell Hazell has been very public about, talking about bringing the whole family together, and that means getting people in Ross-Ade Stadium.
Yeah, it's an environment that can't be replicated. I mean, so the more people that are there, whether that's our regular fan base or our students, I mean, you know, if there's people in the stands, it helps our team to play better, helps them to motivate, get everybody more excited. So it's you can't replace a void in the stands with anything but that.
And then obviously the announcement 2 weeks ago about the legacy fee and some of the changes with response to that. We have a couple questions about that, and certainly from one guest about taking some issue, and yet most of the responses we've seen on our message boards have been positive, not totally that way, but sure. Looking at this situation, you know, how do you feel about how do you answer the questions the guys that say, well, I've been a season ticket holder, I've been in this section, I've supported you, I've you know, supported the John Purdue Club, and now the price is going up again. How has that answer been? How have you been able to answer that question?
Well, I mean, yeah, the fact is, I mean, it isn't any cheaper today than it was before to run a program, and whether that's scholarships, whether that's coaching salaries, whether that's anything related to the program itself. And there are only so many ways to generate revenue, and unfortunately, those fans who are in the quote-unquote best seats, or they've earned their time and moved into those areas, those are obviously the seats that are going to be affected first and foremost, because those are the seats that are highest in demand. And we just hope that everybody kind of understands it. We're not asking anybody to be really happy about it. Nobody's happy about a price increase or an additional fee attached to their seats, but we hope they understand the initiative and what we're trying to accomplish, and that's provide better opportunities and continue to keep our program competitive and keep up with the Joneses or whatever. We're gonna have the budget really of Ohio State, but there are certain things that if we have additional revenue sources that maybe can move us up the chain just a bit.
You know, you look at the situation, and you have obviously anytime you have a coaching change, it's a new time and a new era to be able to bring folks into this. Has there been, you know, in terms of those people that have come out and bought tickets, have they been buying it in those sections, or are these more new ticket new season ticket holders are the 3,000 or so at the bottom?
Yeah, the 3,000 new are new. So those are
But
those are new.
can any of them come in? They don't have the John Purdue Club points to come into those sections.
Well,
or
it
how will that
depends.
work?
The primaries are John Purdue Club. You have to be John Purdue Club.
Right.
There isn't a point restriction if people are familiar to that, or a level restriction
Right.
like we have at Mackey. Now that being said, the large majority of the seats on the west side of the stadium, the home sideline of the stadium, the chances of a new person getting in there isn't really that good, just because that's highly populated by longtime season ticket holders. Assuming they keep their seats, they'll stay there. There are some opportunities in the primaries if they're John Purdue Club, even with low-level points on that east side of the stadium where there's a little more opportunity. We hope, obviously, that changes over the course of time, but as of right now, there are opportunities really at any of those price levels. In all, the majority of our sales to this point of new have been in the lower price points, but we've had sales run the gamut.
When you put together the brochure and do the benchmarking and try to figure out, all right, what price point do we need to be at, but also all the work that goes on comparing Purdue to other schools in the Big Ten. I mean, it took a lot of effort to be able to figure that out. What drove you to some of the decisions that you made based on research and what other schools are doing?
Well, we look at what other schools are doing just to kind of see where we rank. I don't maybe put as much stock in that as some others may. What we tried to do last year was give options. Previous to last year, it was really kind of one price. Through the main stands, and then you had the south end zone. So there really wasn't a break-in price. And I think today, with all the different things that we compete with to get people to come to the stadium, price is obviously a factor. So we tried to give some options. So we priced the north end zone a little differently, and priced the south end zone. Kind of broke the stadium up a bit. Now the better seats, or the 50-yard line seats, got more expensive, but that's kind of the way things go. So we're really just trying to provide options. We look at what others are doing, but we have to kind of weigh that against somewhat what the market here will bear. We're not in a large metropolitan area that maybe a Northwestern has with Chicago. We're comparing ourselves to some pro teams. We don't really have that here. So we kind of look at those factors and try to find common ground.
A question and this is the one that I will be interested, I don't know the answer to. If those in the prime seats do not like the price hike and thus there are empty seats there, how does someone with lesser JPC points find that out?
All you really have to do, if you're going to renew and you want to move into those areas or whatever, you just make that request through the renewal process, or if you're a new buyer, you make that same request. And once we've exhausted the renewal period and people have had their chance, we take those orders out, and then we look at any and all requests that have been made by season ticket holders and try to make those. We go in priority order, but we make those any of those moves we can to accommodate requests. So
this is not a reseeding of the stadium.
Correct.
Not like Mackey Arena. I mean,
Correct.
That's something that's important to understand, and probably also you don't have any gray hair yet, but reseeding is a fate worse than death for those in the ticket business, and I hope you don't have to do that all that often. But when will and another question come? When will current season ticket holders receive their renewal applications? Will current ticket holders be in danger of losing their seats? And I think some of those, they've already gone out as well.
They're all online. So
Okay.
if they haven't activated their account online previously, if you don't have that information, you can call the ticket office and we can provide that. The paper applications are set to be mailed about March 15th, and then the deadline is May 1st. So you have plenty of opportunity to secure your seats prior to that March 1st deadline. We just give a window leading up to that for it to go online. Saves us a little production cost if some people renew early and we're not producing all the paper applications.
You have an interesting home schedule this year. I mean, that's one thing. It's you have Nebraska, Ohio State, Notre Dame, all three schools, and other good teams as well. But Northern Illinois, that's right. Stacy had to throw that in there, being an NIU grad.
Orange Bowl.
Yeah, and an Orange Bowl. Did they win that Orange Bowl game? They did. They competed though. That's right. I'm not even giving her a chance to defend herself here, but she'll have her chance here in a few minutes. It is an attractive schedule. You will use tiered pricing for those games, And because there are some people that will talk about the fact Nebraska's going to bring, hopefully, if you're a Purdue business, have any business around here, or Purdue want to have revenue, you're going to have maybe 20,000 Nebraska fans show up, or however how many come. But there will be tiered pricing so that they can help also, their fans can help defray some of these costs as well.
Absolutely. I mean, we've got into that tiered pricing or dynamic pricing, however, it depends on the definition by the day. I will say, I mean, if you're on the fence, the largest savings are going to be through the season ticket.
Right.
I mean, depending on where you sit, you can save over 50% by buying a season ticket versus if you want to, quote unquote cherry pick, the Nebraska, the Notre Dames or whatever. Those games are obviously going to be priced higher than a Indiana State. But at the same time, if you want to commit, to a season ticket, that's going to be your best value, and there are opportunities to use your other tickets for the other games as well for really little additional cost when you factor in the others.
All right, we have another question and a kind of a response back and forth, a truly interactive thing here today. First, he said, thank you for answering his question. Jay Hetfield, do you have a rough guess on when, say May 15th, that we would receive a call in that type of situation requesting to be upgraded to Prime? How will they be notified?
Yeah, typically, unless you flat out just say upgrade to best available, charge the card, which makes our life easier. Then we just kind of do that. We don't necessarily just notify you. Then, if you want to be notified, in a lot of cases, we will call. You can specifically ask to be called. After the deadline is May 1st, we do give a bit of a grace period, of a week or so if people got things in the mail or whatever it may be. So, and then we start taking the seats out, and then we'll do it. So it takes, 2 to 3 weeks to get the process done. Our goal is to have the moves done by the first week of June. And so if you haven't heard on May 10th or May 15th, doesn't mean we've skipped you or anything like that. It is a bit of a process. We do try to contact people, and so they get a little bit of time to call us back, so that could affect when we're able to call you if you're down the chain a little bit. But we moved a lot of people last year into seats they wanted, and if we can do that, we're open to doing that whenever possible.
The top question, misconceptions, and you've had a few, and anytime you do a campaign, not everybody reads everything. In fact, you're hopeful they read part of it. What are some of the things the things that people that have commented on that they just haven't, that are misconceptions in terms of not only the legacy fee, but the whole ticket process?
Well, I think I think one of the misperceptions is that we're really just out to we're not really trying to take care of the fans and their requests. I mean, when I haven't been here for that long, I think some of the perception I got in was, well, I can make a request for a seat and nobody looks at it because I've had the same seat. And I can only speak for the time I've been here. We do look at all of those requests. We can't accommodate every single request, but we take a lot of time and put a lot of effort into upgrading. Now, at the same time, you have to ask to upgrade. We're not going to just move you because you may not want to move. So if you don't make a request, we're not going to move anybody. So an upgrade or a move is not automatic. You have to request it, and then we look at those. And with the current program, the PSL has been thrown around a lot, and it's similar, but typically PSLs require multi-year commitments, and it gives you rights to sell your seats and those, and it isn't that. I mean, this is really a donation-based seating program similar to most schools. So those are the larger ones, but hopefully at a minimum. People really do know that we look and try to take care of as many of the season ticket holder requests as possible, because if we can make them happy, then obviously the chances of them coming back are greater and greater. And
when he's talking PSL seat licenses, which are done, they are done in college sports, but you see more of them in professional sports. In terms of you look at the situation and the challenge of your role is at least on your business card is going to say marketing and ticketing. They do go hand in hand. How much from a concepting standpoint, what's the message that it has to resonate with fans? Not only Darrell Hazell's message, but what do you think has to stick with fans outside of wins and losses that can get people coming back to Ross-Ade?
Well, I think it's just really that we are part of the community. The students, they're only here for a short amount of time, but the university is here, and it is part of the West Lafayette and Lafayette community, and trying to bridge that gap and bring the two together. I think. I've witnessed there seems to be a bit of a divide if you're in Lafayette versus West Lafayette, and so hopefully we're trying to bridge that gap a little bit and we want to get Coach Hazell out into the community on both sides a little bit more than maybe we were able to with Coach Hope, but really just trying to take pride in the town that you're in and supporting the team, whether we're 10-2 or 2-10, and hopefully we're closer to that 10-2 most of the time. But really coming out and supporting the team and the athletes and the opportunities that they have to represent not just the school but our entire community.
Okay, we got about a minute left, but talk about the biggest changes in your tenure. You've been doing this for a while. Obviously, online ticketing in the world of StubHub, secondary ticketing has changed some things. Is that fair to say that's the biggest thing, or how do you view that from your standpoint?
Yeah, the secondary market is right there, and in technology. I mean, we started delivering tickets to people's cell phones this past football season and basketball season, and so but the impact of the secondary market is extremely significant. You can we're competing to some extent with our own ticket holders because they're selling their tickets at a lower rate than what we value our program at. So that's probably the biggest challenge, and that's relatively new. I mean, that's just a few years old, in the scale that it is now, and it's not going away. And so it's a challenge that we'll continue to deal with and see what happens from there. And that's why I think the options and the tiered pricing will only expand.
All right, well, you can go to PurdueSports.com and get more information. We also have the Legacy Fund FAQ on our site as well. Just some questions that have been asked during the process. Chris, I love this topic and always am interested in go into more detail. We'll do that again sometime.
Absolutely.
And I think it'll be interesting to see. It seems like it's off to a good start, and yet you want to sustain this all the way up to that first home game, the first weekend in September, I believe it is, in
September
Ross-Ade.
7th.
That's right, because August 31st, the Boilermakers travel to Cincinnati. First home game is Indiana State.
Correct.
On September 7th. We'll be here before we know. Chris, thanks so much for your time.
Thank you.
Enjoyed it very much. We'll bring Stacy and Brian. Yeah, we have to bring Brian back. We'll bring them both back for the third and final segment on Gold and Black Live.